Next question goes to CP.
Prime Minister Trudeau, you no longer have the support of the NDP. Your party is trailing in the polls and the Conservatives are calling for an election. Is it time to send Canadians to the polls?
We're here today because we're delivering on school lunches and school food for thousands of kids across the province, and we're making investments that are going to be helping hundreds of thousands of kids across the country as people step up. These are the kinds of things that Canadians are looking for. As I traveled across the country this summer, people talk to me about making ends meet. They talk to me about the high cost of rent and the need for more housing. They talk to me about the environment and climate change and the impacts of it. And these are the things that we're focused on. I'll let others focus on politics, but I will point out that I really hope the NDP stays focused on how we can deliver for Canadians, as we have over the past years, rather than focusing on politics.
Follow-up.
What will become of the programs that you announced as part of the agreement that you had with the NDP, such as pharmacare and dental care?
Well, we have delivered on dental care. 500,000 Canadian seniors have now accessed dental care just in the past few months, despite Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives' opposition to it every step of the way. 500,000 Canadian seniors have now had dental care, many for the first time in decades. This is a program that has helped Canadians. We still have work to do to continue rolling out dental care, and I hope the NDP will continue to fight for that. This fall, we're going to be moving forward on making sure that nobody has to choose between paying for groceries or rent or paying for much-needed insulin. Pharmacare is going to become a reality as we work on that in the House, and I hope the NDP stays focused on that. As a government, we're going to stay focused on delivering for Canadians at a time where people need that. We have, and the Bank of Canada announcement today underscored that, we have the strongest fiscal position of any country in the G7 right now. My belief, our belief is we need to set that fiscal position to work for Canadians by delivering spaces at $10 a day in daycares across the country, delivering dental care, rolling out to Canadians with disabilities and kids under 18, delivering a school food program that's going to make sure that kids don't sit in class too focused on their bellies rumbling to focus on the teacher. These are things that Canadians care about and need. These are the things that this government continues to focus on.
Next question.
Prime Minister Don Bradshaw, NTV, have you had an opportunity to think about what your fall will look like now? Will it be just a regular return to the House of Commons, or do you now have to start thinking about maybe calling an election before something happens?
I am not focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics. I'm focused on actually delivering the things that Canadians told me this summer they need. I had thousands of conversations with people across the country. Very few of them wanted to talk politics. They wanted to talk how are they going to make sure that they can afford their rent as they get back to school in the fall, how they're going to be able to hope to one day be able to own a home. That's why we're investing in the most ambitious home building program the country has ever seen. They want to know how we're going to help with the price of groceries. Well, rolling out these school food programs right across the country as more provinces come on board is going to make a real difference in families' bottom lines. I'm focused on Canadians. I'll let the other parties focus on politics.
But with that said, you have to focus on politics at some point when you look at what you're doing. The announcement today, for example, the Bank of Canada rate dropping, it would seem like these would be positive signs that maybe you would want to go to the polls with. So when do you start thinking politically?
Delivering for Canadians is at the heart of what politics is supposed to be about. We're about being there to make sure that as Canadians are hurting, but as our economy is in many ways one of the strongest in the world, certainly in terms of fiscal position, we should be putting that economy to serve them. That's why we stepped up with $10 a day childcare. That's why we've stepped up with dental care. That's why we're continuing to fight for pharmacare. This is why we're drawing in investment from around the world at levels that nobody's ever seen. We're up 60% in foreign direct investment. Last year, we were the #1 country per capita among advanced economies in the G20 for companies wanting to invest in Canada. There is opportunity in Canada that we cannot let slide. That's what we're focused on. An election will come in the coming year, hopefully not till next fall. Because in the meantime, we're going to deliver for Canadians, and the contrast with a Conservative leader that wants to cut dental care, cut the school food program, cut insulin through pharmacare, cut the programs that Canadians are relying on to help them through this difficult time, well, that'll be a political decision that Canadians get to take in an election. But in the meantime, I'm not letting down Canadians, and I'm going to stay focused on them.
Next question.
Hi, Troy Turner, CBC. Just to get back to the NDP announcement today, what conversations did you have with Mr. Singh prior to today's announcement?
I have had, over the past number of years, many conversations about how we get things done for Canadians. And that has led to things like $10 a day childcare, dental care that has made a huge impact. But both of those things have more work to do in Parliament this fall, as we're moving forward on pharmacare as well, to make sure that free prescription contraceptives, to make sure that free insulin is available to Canadians. These are things that I know the NDP should care about, because Canadians care about it. So I look forward to conversations with Mr. Singh about how we're going to continue to demonstrate that confident countries invest in their citizens, invest in their future, because that's what we're doing.
Leading up to today's announcements by the NDP, Pierre Poilievre had made a call to the NDP to get out of that governance agreement. Is there a fear that these two parties will form a similar type agreement, and how would that affect you leading into the next year and the next election?
I think Canadians are beginning to realize that Pierre Poilievre is wrong when he says he doesn't want to invest in food for kids at school. He's wrong when he doesn't want to see $10 a day childcare spaces created. He's wrong when he doesn't want to see free insulin go to Canadians in need who are fighting diabetes. He's wrong to not want to put the strongest balance sheet in the G7 in service of Canadians. Confident countries invest in their citizens and in their future. That's what we're doing. That's a choice he wants to take away from Canadians. And I truly believe that progressive parties like the NDP and we Liberals need to continue to deliver for people in this challenging time, because that's how we've grown the economy over the past years. That's how we'll continue to be there long into the future for Canadians.
Last question.
Hi, Sanuda Ranawake, CBC News. Prime Minister, considering that you've lost essentially the support of the NDP, what does that mean for some of the projects that you mentioned about giving back to Canadians going forward? How much of a support are you losing here?
Well, I think the NDP is going to have to make decisions about whether or not they want to stand with Pierre Poilievre, who's going to cut the school food programs, cut dental care, not deliver on pharmacare, or whether they're going to focus on what it means to Canadians to be there to give them support through this difficult time and to be investing in the future, whether it's drawing in global investments or fighting climate change at the same time. Every politician gets to choose whether they want to play politics or whether they want to serve Canadians, and I certainly hope that the NDP will stay true to its fundamental values, which is making sure that Canadians get the support they need and keeping away the austerity, the cuts, and the damage that will be done by Conservatives if they get the chance.
I'd like to look at the other side of things, your relationship with the provincial government in Newfoundland and Labrador. You've had disagreements before, especially when it comes to things like the carbon tax. But now here you are today announcing almost a deal together. What does this make of your relationship between the government of Newfoundland and Labrador and the federal government?
Well, I think for people who've been paying attention, they've seen that we've been able as a government to sign deals and deliver things for Canadians right across the country. Childcare agreements with Alberta, investments in housing in Saskatchewan. We even managed to make a few agreements signed with New Brunswick. We will work with people across the political spectrum to deliver for Canadians because that's what Canadians expect. And of course, it's always more fun to be standing beside my friend Andrew to deliver concretely for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. And as we have across the country, there will always be multiple different solutions proposed and perspectives on different challenges. And that's one of the great things about Canada, that we get to work together and figure things out. And I have to say, I rarely have had better partners, even though we've seen disagreements on certain issues. The values are aligned, and the desire to deliver for Canadians is always at the forefront of everything that Andrew does. And I'm really happy to be showcasing that delivering food for kids in schools right across the country starts here in Newfoundland and Labrador because of Andrew Furey's leadership. Okay, what do you want to say a few words?
Sure. So I'm happy to address that, and the Prime Minister and I have had frank and conversations about the areas of disagreement. And as the First Minister representing Newfoundland and Labrador, that is my job. My job is to stand up for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. I make no apologies for it, and I will always do it. And so while we have disagreements on things like carbon and cod, what we are here today to discuss is something that there is no disagreement on, that children deserve to go to school not thinking about where they're getting their next meal, that families deserve to have a break on groceries for their children and to take that stress off them. So while there will be disagreements, and managing a broad country with multiple different socio-political interests, perhaps there always should be disagreements. But this is something that we firmly agree on, and I have no doubt every parent in Newfoundland and Labrador would echo that statement.
Bravo.